Hello and welcome back. Now the challenge can be very tough. Between the daily challenges, eliminations, social game strategy, lying, the competition, blind sides, it can be a lot to deal with. But the game becomes virtually impossible if you have to overcome yourself. In this video, I'll be going over instances of players self-sabotaging their own game or imploding their own game to the point where they would eventually lose the game. And we'll start off taking a look at the duo of Amanda and Zach in Final Reckoning. Even though they came into the season disliking each other, the pair of Amanda and Zach were overpowering in the game. They won 4 of the first 9 challenges. It was essentially smooth sailing for them until one episode, the house vote was tied between Bananas and Tony and Hunter and Ashley. Zach clearly wanted to save his boys of Tony and Bananas, while Amanda was looking out for her fellow Lavender Lady and Ashley. Both players were unwilling to budge and compromise, and although they were the only team safe of going into that week's elimination, because they couldn't make a unified decision, they actually were going into the Armageddon game.
Was I not?
They had to face off against Devin and Corey, the mercenaries coming into the game that episode, in the Shake It Off elimination, which they lost. And not only did they lose that elimination, but Zach sustained an injury in that elimination that would eventually lead to them being medically disqualified from the season. A team who was looked at as the frontrunner and poised to make a finals run was gone in an instant and self-sabotaged themselves in the game. Now this next self-sabotage is an iconic moment in challenge history. During season 25, Free Agents, Jordan and Johnny Bananas had a rivalry. Things got heated when in one episode, Jordan voted Johnny into elimination, stating that the multi-time champion needed to, quote, earn his stripes. When Johnny won that elimination against Isaac and came back, of course, he had quite a bit to say. During this exchange, Jordan professed that he would love nothing more than to face Johnny in an elimination and send him home himself. And in episode 7, Jordan had his chance, with Johnny Bananas voted in and Jordan in the draw. All episode, he flirted with the idea of flipping all the kill cards to ensure an elimination matchup against Johnny. Now, normally people would do anything to stay out of elimination, but Jordan felt that he would be nothing if he didn't keep his word. So being the first person to flip a card in the draw, Jordan marched down there and flipped each card one by one, ensuring he would be going into the Wrecking Wall elimination. Now, this was an elimination not very advantageous to Jordan, but you could never count him out in any elimination, no matter what the hurdles were. But in this specific case, Johnny was able to pull out the win, Jordan came up short, and he was eliminated that episode. If Jordan had not flipped all the cards in that episode, I feel he would have went very deep into the season, possibly made it to another finals. But even in this self-sabotage and looking at the move saying, why would you ever do that? It's still one of the most iconic challenge moments in challenge history, despite it going poorly for Jordan. From a famous scene to an infamous scene, we go to season 27, Battle of the Bloodlines, where one of the twins, Raphy, was fighting for him and his brother's place to stay in the game. It looked like he had the upper hand against Cousin Mitch, and what looked to be the prime moment of possibly locking in the win, Raphy's brother Dario got, quote, too hype and started to celebrate prematurely, leaving the door cracked open for Mitch to make his move and to take back control. Now that was a huge shift in momentum, and the rule of thumb is you don't celebrate until TJ declares you the winner. But Dario, like I said, got too hype. He got too hype, and that sabotage cost him and his brother. This is basically Dario's claim to fame in challenge history. Like, this is his most memorable moment. And to me, it's funny, but also really sad.
I got too hype.
Now, jumping back all the way to season 13, The Duel, Evan and Wes made a pact with each other that Wes would call out Brad if he was voted into the elimination, while Evan would call out CT if he was voted into the elimination. Late into the season, Evan found himself going into the elimination And though he had limited choices because he had to either choose Brad or CT to go against, Evan, in the moment, decided to keep his word that he had with Wes.
Go with CT.
It's really funny to watch this moment back because you can see the instant regret on Evan's face when he utters those 2 letters. Evan tried to play it off that this was the right move to make, but once the truth sunk in that he would have to face the animal that is CT, Evan started to panic. He went up to Wes, blaming him for his own decision of choosing CT, and all the way leading up to the elimination, which was the Ascender elimination, Evan still was freaking out to the point where he started to draw the puzzle on his arm as a cheat sheet as to help him out in the elimination against CT. He was called out, he had to wash off his arm, and ultimately Evan was eliminated. Not to say that Evan would have won against Brad in that elimination, but I'm sure he would have been a little bit more clear-minded going up against, say, Brad, instead of knowing that he was going to be facing off against CT, as well as I don't think Brad is as good in puzzles as, say, CT is.
You're a meatball, you're going home anyway.
Before heading into eliminations, most of the time, there is a voting ceremony, a deliberation, where players can give speeches to help try to save themselves from possibly being voted into elimination. And there are times that players have saved themselves from going into elimination by how good of a speech they've made, and then there are speeches that are so bad that the house had to vote them into elimination. Let's take a look at some of these speeches real quick. We have Robin from Season 21, Rivals, Episode 1. Laurel was pushing to send Anissa and Robin into the elimination, where Robin was feeling the pressure. She wanted to stay in the game so badly. She stood up in front of everybody, tried to give a speech, and let's just say it probably sounded better in her head than what was actually said at the deliberation ceremony.
When voting happens, remember, whichever one comes back, it doesn't really matter. It makes sense at all. It needs to help me with this.
The rookie Jenn Lee was the easy vote to send into the elimination in Season 35 Total Madness Episode 2. But maybe, just maybe, there would have been a slim chance she could have saved herself if she gave an incredible speech. Too bad she got help from Johnny Bananas and Wes, who did not have her best interest at heart, and you could tell the nerves overtook her as she started out her speech. She sealed her fate after only uttering 2 words in the beginning of her speech.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Now we got spoiled in the Challenge 39 Battle for a New Champion, as not 1, but 2 speeches back-to-back sent 2 players into the elimination via the house vote. In episode 1, Jessica's name was floating out there and she was worried about being the house vote. So she said anything and everything that maybe could have saved herself, and throwing out all of these bullet points at once condemned her to going into the elimination.
Some challenges I'm not going to be great at. That money means nothing to me. I just don't want to go home first.
In episode 2, it was between Huey and Chauncey tried his best to come off as trustworthy. So he tried to go down the line one by one with the players that he played with on the previous season, the Challenge 38, asking if he's ever done them wrong. Let's just say this didn't go exactly how he pictured it would.
Have I ever done you wrong? Did say my name once. So, have I ever done you wrong?
Yes.
And then Olivia.
Horacio, doing him wrong, you did me wrong.
Backfired, didn't it?
For some self-sabotages, the repercussions aren't seen until it's far too late. Let's go now to Season 34. Team USA had so much baggage with each other that they regularly took the opportunity to send members of their own team into eliminations. While in power in episode 3, Josh and Laurel decided to blindside Wes. He lost that elimination, which would then become a trend. In episode 5, Team USA were back into power, and they decided to send in one of their own, Johnny Bananas, a 6-time champ at that time, to send into elimination, and he was then eliminated. Now granted, Johnny was trying to sabotage his own team alongside with Laurel to help get members of his own team sent into elimination in a previous episode. So you could say that Johnny kind of self-sabotaged himself, which then helped the whole team self-sabotage each other by sending him into elimination. It's a very complex system in this one. Later, Team USA would run Tori and Jordan off the team by getting them sent in, and then they turncoat to the UK team. All the decisions over the course of the season led to Team USA not fully equipped to handle the finals compared to the newly formed Team UK. The original Team USA was stacked. When you look at what they were able to do on paper, they were dominant. And if they could have just set aside their own baggage and worked with each other to win, they would have crushed Team UK. But they couldn't get out of their own way and they self-sabotaged themselves to the point of no return. And finally, let's go to Season 36, Double Agents. Now, Double Agents was set to be Leroy's last season on the challenge. He had a great season, mainly being partnered up with Casey. But right at the end, Fessel stole Casey from Leroy and he had to choose whether to be partnered with Nany or to steal Amber. Now for Leroy, I can see this as a possible bit of destiny. You know, this is set to be your last challenge season, and now you get to choose someone that you started your MTV career with. If you think about it, it's pretty much like a full circle moment. So Leroy jumped at the opportunity to be partnered up with a best friend, a longtime friend in Nany to run the finals with, instead of the rookie Amber. Again, I understand why Leroy decided to go with Nany, but in choosing Nany, that gave Leroy and Nany a very low ceiling chance of possibly winning these finals. Yes, Nany probably did better at puzzles than Amber, but when it came to running, having enough gas in the tank and having the drive to win, Amber had that in spades compared to Nany. Knowing that this could possibly be your friend's last chance of winning, heck, not even just winning, just leaving the game with some cash in his pocket, getting second place, wasn't enough for Nany to kick it into overdrive and help him out. She put her on cruise control, she said, "I'm done, my body won't go any faster," and Leroy ended Double Agents in third place, leaving with no real cash in the prize fund. But that is it for this video. What do you think about this list? Let me know down in the comment section below. I know that there are other self-sabotages that I didn't mention that have happened on the challenge. If one came to your mind, let me know down in the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.